So, what was the Volstead Act? With the war over and troops returning home, the mood in Congress was one of moralizing to the American people. Overriding the veto of President Wilson, Congress enacted the Volstead Act of 1919. Thus began the noble experiment known as Prohibition. Its purpose was to, quote, prohibit the production, sale, and distribution of intoxicating liquors, close quote. This act would come to define the next decade as the Roaring Twenties. Instead of a moral and sober country, it ushered in a crime wave known as gangsterism. Bathtub gin, speakeasies, moonshine stills, as well as rum running. An unending quest to evade the law became a common activity. This gave rise to an unprecedented crime wave that would last well into the next decade. Machine Gun Kelly, Ma Barker, Bonnie and Clyde, Babyface Nelson, John Dillinger, and the most notorious Alphonse Capone. The law was unpopular and it was unenforceable. The new post-war decade would also witness the rise of broadcast radio, motion pictures, and jazz. After the twin catastrophes of World War and the influenza pandemic, the country was ready to follow a policy known as return to normalcy. 3 Republican presidents dominated the political landscape from 1920 to 1932. Warren G. Harding, Calvin Coolidge, and Herbert Hoover. President Coolidge, with his dry Yankee wit and his, let's face it, his frugality with words, was something of a legend. His wife, Grace Goodhue Coolidge, recounted that at a dinner, a young woman sitting next to the president confided to him that she had bet she could get at least 3 words of conversation from him. Without blinking an eye, he retorted, "You lose." A new generation of American composers produced a tidal wave of musical variety and originality. Titles like Swanee, West End Blues, Ain't Misbehavin', Rhapsody in Blue, and Old Man River were added to the National Songbook. Artists like Louis Armstrong, Paul Robeson, Fats Waller, George Gershwin, Jerome Kern, Al Jolson, and Paul Whiteman kept the music printing presses whirring 24 hours a day. From New Orleans to Tin Pan Alley, there seemed to be no end to American musical genius. A new style of motion picture burst onto the scene. The Talkies. Broadway melody of 1929 featured a smash hit called Singin' in the Rain. Scratchy sound and static camera work did not deter audiences from flocking to this latest hit to the silver screen. We could all hear the same music. Sound motion pictures were here to stay. Though often associated with Gene Kelly and the 1950s, this song was the hit of 1929 and musically summed up the decade. Join in.
I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again. I'm laughing at clouds so dark up above. The sun's in my heart and I'm ready for love. Let the stormy clouds chase everyone from the place. Come on with the rain, I've a smile on my face. I'll walk down the lane with a happy refrain, just singing in the rain. singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again. I'm laughing at clouds so dark up above. The sun's in my heart and I'm ready for love. Let the stormy clouds chase everyone from the place. Come on with the rain, I have a smile on my face. I walk down the lane to the happy refrain, just singing in the rain.